Well, the hope and change thing, Chris, obviously was looking forward. Is there a way for President Obama to make this more forward-looking than backward-looking?
Yeah, I think he has to say that one thing we've learned over the last 100 years about managing the economy is this. When business fails, as it's failed in the last 10 years, it has failed. The private sector fell apart under President George W. Bush. It's a fact. The financial market fell down. The auto industry was dead on arrival. Everything has failed. The government has to act. When the consumer is uncertain and business is scared, the government has to act, which it did when Obama came in, and it hadn't done before that. He came in, took action, saved the auto industry, brought back the American economy with a big stimulus plan. He took a lot of heat for it. But if the government hadn't acted, nobody would have acted, because even to this day, business is afraid. The consumer is holding on to his and her money. Nobody's really got the guts to spend some money now except the government. He's got to say, we got to keep doing this. We got to keep shouldering the responsibility to keep the American economy roaring again until everybody's back. He's got to say, we've done the right thing. We're going to do more of it. If the Republicans would get out of the way, we'd do a lot more.
Well,
he's got to be aggressive. He's got to be big time. Stop this nickel and dime. A couple bucks for the teachers, a couple bucks for the firefighters. I'm going to reduce the payroll tax. This is pissant. You can't get reelected with tactics. He needs a strategy, which is we're different than the Republicans. They're basically free marketers who sit around and wait for business to deliver this country from hell, and business has let us down.
Chris,
he's got to say it.
But Chris, I think the American people understand that they want the private sector to take the lead in the economy for the long run.
It has failed. It has failed, and it keeps failing. The private sector is sitting on $2 trillion right now. It doesn't want to spend because it doesn't want this guy to look good. It doesn't want him reelected. If you have to make a margin tough call,
I don't think that's the reason.
Yes.
Chris,
and
I
also
think the private sector will spend money if they think they're going to get a return on that money through the.
Okay, here's the idiot Republican argument. If you just got a bigger tax cut than Bush gave them, by the way, we're operating
I'm not even talking,
Chris,
I'm not talking about tax cuts. I'm not talking about regulation. I'm just talking about just business as the world exists today. If you're a businessman out there and you've got money that you're holding, you're going to invest it if you think you can get a return on that investment.
You know where they're investing their money? They're investing it in campaigns against the president. They're running ads against the president by the billions of dollars. What are you talking about? We just talked about it a second ago. Who do you think's giving to the Republicans? It's the
Chris, what you're telling the voters
guys.
Is that the economy 3 years, not even 3 years into the president's term, 3 years after the recovery began, the only way
there wasn't any Bush recovery.
The only way we can keep. You're telling them that the only way that we can keep the economy going is by more government spending.
No,
I'm asking you, is that
investment? Have you been to Europe lately? Have you been to Asia? Have you seen how they have?
I have,
they have trains that go 300 miles an hour.
Yeah, they have one.
Well, there's another interesting argument, Tony. I hate to leave Steve out of this. There's another interesting argument today, and it's made in none other than the Washington Times. And the argument is this: the argument is that while there are record profits for corporations, while they're sitting on $2 trillion in corporate profits, the wages for the average earner have only gone up 1.4%. Wages have really not kept up with the earnings for the past. We're 45 years behind. This is all from the Washington Times, and their argument is if they're not investing, they're not hiring, and they're freezing wages, and they're fighting against an increase in the minimum wage, people don't feel confident to spend and reinvest in the economy.
Well, can I make a point here? I feel like I'm teaching first grade here. What do you think Tom Donahue of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce does for a living, representing American business? He gets Republicans elected to office. Business and the Republican Party are the same thing, just like labor and the Democrats. Business wants the Republicans to win this election. Business wants that to happen. They're spending tons of money to have that happen. I don't know how you can deny the obvious.
Where were they in 2008?
They had a weak candidate they didn't believe in. They had a business supported Barack Obama. Yeah, right.
Let me ask you a strategic question. Let me ask you a strategic question.
He was killing himself for Obama.
Yep.
Steve, let me get you into this. A strategic question. Is it enough for Mitt Romney to say the economy's bad, Barack Obama has not been a good president, or does he have to put out an alternative? Is there a rule that's different for the challenger than for the incumbent?
Look, the campaign has a long way to go to November, and he has to put out an alternative vision of how he is going to manage the economy and be president. And, you know, we're going to have real choices. We're going to see debates between these two guys and see who has a better vision for America. And Mitt Romney's going to have to say, how is he going to manage the economy? What's he going to do different than what Barack Obama has done? It's not a great economy, but it's a vastly improved economy than Barack Obama inherited. He's made great progress, but there's more progress that needs to be made.
All right, we're going to have you all stand by.